Welcome,
Hi,
Heidi.
Nick.
Malofi. Hello. Hello, Anne. Hi, Pam.
Hi.
Hi, Joe.
Welcome, everyone. Just going to see. Just give everyone a few moments to log on. Lovely to see you all, your names or your faces or both. Next. Welcome back from Pondo Trail. Oh my gosh, don't tell me my camera. WhatsApp is
Morning, Nix.
How was Pondo? It was amazing.
Oh my word, everybody must do Pondo.
Really?
Tell us a little bit about it quickly.
Let me just move rooms. Paul's trying to do his quiet time and now I'm gas backing. No, it's just the most exquisite, beautiful walk over 4 days and the most wonderful scenery along the coastline. And we were just so blessed with whales. It should have been called the Whale Trail. We literally had whales in the bay. Every step of our way, we would look out and we would have whales jumping out the sea and spouting, and just really felt like God's country. It was just too beautiful.
How special.
And mountain cliffs and beaches and beautiful sort of hills that felt like what I imagine Scotland to be. I've never been, but just rolling hills of green.
Oh, how divine.
Sounds gorgeous.
From where to where did you walk in the Transkei?
From Port Edward, we got on a boat, and then they drop you in the middle of the ocean at this beautiful waterfall. And from there we walked to, where did we end? I've gone so blank. Msikaba. I think it was called Msikaba.
Msikaba.
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah.
And next, did Matt take you?
No, John McCarthy.
Oh, okay. I don't know him.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to having a walk and catching up. But welcome to those who've just joined. It's lovely to have you here on this Tuesday, the 18th of November, 2022. So as I was saying last time, I'm using my frankincense more and more to ground and to help me in my meditation time, because especially with moving and literally I feel like I'm in a different province I am in a different province every week. Don't just feel like been really helpful for me. So last week was Cape Town, this weekend it's Natal, the weekend before Joburg, the weekend before Natal. So the frankincense helps me to ground. And then I love using this holy basil, tulsi, and laurel leaf or peppermint or breathe to open up the airways and connect with our breath, which is really our life force energy. If we can slow our breath, we can really sink into ourselves. So welcome to this mindful moment. Last week we did advice from a tree. We got our advice from a tree, and I talked about the Buddhist explanation of the 2 arrows of suffering. The first, the suffering of the actual trauma, the actual sadness, the actual loss, the things that we can't control, the things that happen to us that we can't control. And the second arrow is the suffering of the judging mind, the part that says, how could this happen? And how could God allow it? Why me? Why now? Why them? This isn't fair. And these are the stories in our mind that we think make a difference and that we think can stop things from happening, but they actually just cause more pain because they keep the wound fresh. It's like the second arrow, we're pulling it in and out and moving it around and in and out, and it keeps the wound raw and fresh, and it doesn't allow the healing. And last week I dedicated the session to Janet Otto. I planned to mention her because she'd been dealing with such incredible trauma. It was the 1-year anniversary of her husband's cycling accident and her daughter's 21st birthday on the same day. So those of you who are online will remember we talked about it, and I dedicated to her, and I did the dedication quite spontaneously. I planned to sort of mention her. And I'm not sure that Janet even knows about our mindful moments, but later on, I found out that she was actually sitting downstairs, probably not even 50 meters away, 100 meters away, having coffee with a friend at a Bird coffee shop while we were doing our mindful moment. So that for me was quite profound and quite synchronous and quite amazing. And Nix on the call shared my mindful moment with her, and she was really touched by it. And then I was also contacted afterwards by Bronwyn Lee, whose husband Jeff was actually the only other person cycling with Alex on that day. He was hit first, actually, but not as severely. And her sister-in-law, Jean-Marie, was on the mindful moment and then had shared it with her. And so I was in touch with her, and they're just such powerful synchronicities and confirmations that the hand of God is over everything, and that we also all connected. And everything I do affects what you do, and vice versa. And I experienced the same this weekend in Cape Town. Such synchronicities, such conversations with someone who was sitting next to me at the pool, who I thought should actually offer to move up. And in fact, he didn't, he just stayed put. So then I landed up talking to him, and it was such an amazing conversation. I'm sure that we'll be connecting in due course. He's starting something called the Good South African, which I think reiterates with all of us. It's not about our color, creed, our religion, I mean, obviously those all give us our identities and give us our community and our strength and power, but it's also just about being kind and caring and generous and good, a good person. That's what unites us. So everything from there to where I was teaching at the yoga studio, The Source, having incredible conversations there, that gave me such insight into who and what I am. In fact, I'll just quickly share this. So Brian, one of the owners of the studio, he said to me, "What star sign are you?" So I said, Leo. So he said, "Oh, okay." And then he said, "What year were you born?" So I said, 1976. He says, "Oh my gosh, a Leo dragon. Gosh, you are fiery." So it was a little bit of an insight into myself. And then even the Uber driver, Aslam, such profound, insightful conversations. And so just this, they all taught me so much. And then just also already with our team and the parents and all that, taught me so much about myself and the essential goodness and kindness of others, and our inherent need and desire to connect and to see each other, to speak to each other, to hear and to be heard. In fact, the teachers and parents, we all went out for a drink at Forries, and we each landed up telling our stories and how we got to be here, and like, a little bit of our journeys. And it was so profound hearing each other's stories and connecting in that way. And so just to all this desire to see and to speak and to hear and be heard and to make the world a better place. So it's the waning moon. It was full moon on the 9th of October, and now we're moving to new moon on the 25th of October. And actually that new moon is a solar eclipse, and it's a solar eclipse in Scorpio on the 25th. The eclipse will be happening between 11 and 3 p.m. our time. But from what I could see when I looked it up, I think it's only more going to be seen in sort of the Europe, UK, and North Africa, Asia sort of area. I don't think we're going to see it down here, but I stand to be corrected. But it's still very, very powerful. And the energy of an eclipse isn't just on that day. There's the energy can build up from like a month before to sort of 6 months afterwards. And eclipse energies bring huge intensity, like the new moon does and the full moon does. And particularly this one, which is in Scorpio, which, if you like me, meant nothing to me, but now I take out my camera with using that Skyview Light app, and you can actually track the star constellations, and you see that the moon is in the constellation of Scorpio, and so suddenly it all makes sense. And it's a perfect scientist time to set new intentions. In fact, it's an incredibly powerful time to set new intentions of what we want to manifest. And this particular one can really bring permanent changes. Everything we've been talking about recently, it's been a time of transformation, a time of change. And Scorpio in itself is it's got an intensity and passion to it. It's about secrets. It's also linked to toxicity of our environment, drugs we put on and in our bodies, things we put on and in our bodies, the toxicity of thinking, which is all stuff that we've become so aware of in the shed. This is what our shed's been focusing on, is sort of helping to shed our toxicity in our mind and body. And And also secrets create toxicity. When we hold a secret, it can create a toxic environment in us. And we're wanting to release that. So perhaps if you have things that are heavy on your heart, this new moon is a very important time to release it. And funny enough, we're doing a Melissa challenge. I spoke about it on our shed yesterday. We're having to see how many Melissas we can get to see how we can open it up. But anyone who has a Melissa could join us. Melissa is all about, it's the oil of light, and it's about stepping into the light. And it's about releasing things like depression, heaviness, sadness, which toxicity can cause. We're going to probably be starting it on the 8th of November, which is the full moon, the next full moon. And then the 8th of November is also the lunar eclipse, and it's the US election day. And it's an incredibly intense day. But we're going to be stepping into the light from that day. And it just happens over 4 to 5 days. It's just about smelling or putting our Melissa on our palette every hour. So it's really not it's intense focus, but it's not intense in terms of what it demands of us, and feeling the expansion of our energy. So back to the new moon in Scorpio, there's also a lot of more seismic activity. Pam Gregory talks about this drop in the Earth's magnetic field, which is actually something that's measured. And these M-class flares and X-class flares, this isn't astrology, this is astronomy. So this is the science of what's happening in the stars. And it's amazing to hear this. And as she talked about, when astronauts leave the Earth's gravitational pull and they don't have a stronger magnetic field, that there is more intuition, they have more synchronicities, they have more dreams. Quite bizarre. Listen to her and Heather Emsworth if you want to hear more. But she says, so the Earth is upgrading very quickly and changing very quickly, actually physically. And it's moving at such dizzying speeds. So we can experience dizziness and insomnia and that sort of thing. And that's normal. It's not always comfortable, but normal. And then she talks about the Great Depression, the stock market crash on the 29th of October, 1929. And how actually our setup of our stars, don't ask me more, is this time just 1 degree away. So it's almost an exact mirror of what happened then. And everything in our stars is talking about the demolition of the old financial systems and a rise of the new financial systems. And she says, don't just focus on the collapse. In fact, you have to look through it and look at what we're creating. So I've been trying to play this clip for my husband a number of times, and again this morning as we were getting ready, and he's like, oh my gosh, because he works in the stock markets and he is a trader, so he is in the heart, in the coal face of this. And he's like, are we really listening to an astrologer for our financial markets? I said, I don't know, let's see. But I mean, the stock market is crashing. So, but she gives another lovely analogy of breaking down to break through. And she says it's just indicated everywhere in astrology what we are seeing here. And she gives a vision of creating a beautiful home, the home that you want to build from love, for your home, for your family, something that is a vision that you've had and you've now designed it with an architect, and you've got this beautiful image, but it has to be built on the same place where your old home was. So you have to break down the old home to build the new home. And when we start the demolition, it can feel quite scary, and we can feel quite like, what the hell are we doing? This is very scary. That home was actually lovely. It had lots of memories. It had lots of good stuff. But we know that the geysers weren't great, and there were issues with the plumbing and all that sort of thing. So she said it's going to get intense. It's going to get scary. We're going to be quite shocked by the demolition. But we're building for something better, and we have to know that and have faith in it and see beyond the scariness to know that that beautiful house that we've planned is going to be on that site. And we're seeing it now, even with Pfizer just last week admitting that there was no science and no research to prove that the vaccine could stop transmission. They were working faster than the speed of science. So the only thing I know faster than the speed of science is maybe the speed of light or the speed of sound or the speed of money. But they were working faster than the speed of science, whatever that is. So we're going to see a lot coming out and a lot of secrets, and we're going to find it very hard to know what's true on any side. And the only way we can know what's true is by tuning into our heart and our body. And that's what we're going to do today. And this is what this practice is all about, so that we get used to tuning into our heart and into our bodies so that we can feel the expansion with truth and the contraction with what's not true for us. And what's true for me might be different to what's true for you, but this is where we have to tap into and tune into our bodies. I'm just seeing something in the chat. Oh, the moon, I use Skyview Light for looking up at the stars. And what I'm doing more and more is if I mention something in the thing, in the Mindful Moment, I will then post it in the comments on the website when I post the recording. So go back and look there, and I'll post the link for Pam Gregory. I'll post the link for Heather Emsworth. If there's anything specific I've mentioned, I'll post it there. So I encourage you now just to assume a position that of dignity, of importance, of knowing the value of what we are doing now. And so noticing your feet on the floor, on the earth beneath you. If you're sitting, noticing how your pelvis, your buttocks, your legs connect with the cushion or chair beneath you. Just allowing your energy to sink, listening to the sound of the bell. And with each sound, just focusing on your exhale and allowing that to bring your energy down into, and your attention down into your feet, your lower legs, your pelvis, just really sinking in. So taking in a breath through your nose. And then allowing it, the exhale, to invite you to settle into your body. Slowly following the sound until you can no longer hear it. With it, allowing a settling, a grounding. Noticing the points of connection with your feet on the earth beneath you. And gently raising your spine, your shoulders, your head, your neck towards the sky like a tent pole. Raising up and out. Don't meditate to fix yourself, to heal yourself, to improve yourself, or to redeem yourself. Rather, do it as an act of love, of deep, warm friendship to yourself. In this way, there's no longer any need for the subtle aggression of self-improvement, for the endless guilt of not doing enough. It offers the possibility of an end to the ceaseless round of trying so hard that wraps so many people's lives in a knot. Instead, there is now meditation as an act of love. How endlessly delightful and encouraging. Don't meditate to fix yourself, to heal yourself, to improve yourself, to redeem yourself. Rather, do it as an act of love, of deep, warm friendship to yourself. In this way, there's no longer any need for the subtle aggression of self-improvement, for the endless guilt of not doing enough. It offers the possibility of an end to the ceaseless round of trying so hard that wraps so many people's lives in a knot. Instead, there's now meditation as an act of love. How endlessly delightful and encouraging. So in this moment, I invite you to offer yourself an act of compassion, of self-love. Perhaps that might look like giving yourself a hug, squeezing your shoulders, squeezing your arms. Perhaps it might be stroking your cheek. There. Perhaps it might be placing your hands on your heart. But an act of compassion and gentleness that we might use with a child who feels distressed, unsure, a child that is calling for love and grounding and noticing acknowledgement. I invite you in this moment to offer yourself this. perhaps even using words. There, my love, it's going to be okay. It's all right, I'm here for you. We're all in this together. But using physical touch to ground yourself, to feel some gentleness and compassion for yourself in this time, whatever you may be dealing with, whatever you are being strong for or holding close to your heart, whatever feels overwhelming. They're there. And then perhaps settling with your hands on your heart space or resting in your lap, open to receiving. Whatever feels comfortable to you at this time. And bringing your attention to your heart space. And breathing directly into this heart space as if there was a funnel from the outside directly into your heart. Funneling your breath in and out of your heart space. Perhaps this funnel of breath has a color. Perhaps it has a shimmer. Perhaps it has a lightness or a gravitas. Just tuning in to how it feels in your heart space in this moment. And then noticing as this breath, this light, this color enters your body, where it goes from there. Where does the light go? Does it permeate into your heart space? And from your heart, perhaps it moves out through your major arteries, pumping out into your arterial arteries, or arterioles, or capillaries, to your bronchioles and bronchi, into your lungs, and into your body. Just following with curiosity for yourself in these next few moments, where this light moves. Noticing if you feel it just in your trunk, in your core, whether you can feel it moving into your digestive tract, into your pelvis, into your pelvic bowl, connecting with your genital organs, your ovaries, uterus, or even just energetically where those may have been. Whether you can feel it spreading and expanding into your legs and arms and all the way down into the tips of your fingers, into the smallest capillaries, the smallest network as it connects with our skin. Up into our throat and our face, our head, our neck, into our eyes, our nose, the minutiae of our senses. Just pausing for a moment to really follow with curiosity and interest where you sense this in your body. So that perhaps we feel our whole body filled with breath, with light, with this color, texture, connecting with the surface of our skin and perhaps expanding beyond this. Noticing whether you can tune into where your body ends and the rest of the world begins, or whether it becomes a porous boundary between them, that actually there is no firm barrier between us and the world, that we are of the world and in the world. Feeling into the fact that we are light beings. Our very physics, our quantum physics tells us this, that we're made of the things of stars, the same carbon footprint. And that we too can radiate out into the world as stars do. And bringing our attention back to our heart space. And allowing this radiation, this light, this energy, this love and gratitude to radiate out into the world. As we breathe out, noticing this funnel of energy and light moving out into the world. Connecting today with every person that we speak to, every person that serves us in the shops, the coffee shops, security guards at the entrances, gates, people that we see and notice. Channeling this light, this love, so that we can bless everyone that we come into contact today with. Praying for the highest possible outcome for them as we do ourselves. So that this act of nourishment that we have done for ourselves can nourish those around us, those we come into contact with, the passers-by we meet, and in fact, those that we love the most, those that we hold closest to our hearts. Don't meditate to fix yourself, to heal yourself, to improve yourself, to redeem yourself. Rather, do it as an act of love, of deep, warm friendship to yourself. In this way, there's no longer any need for the subtle aggression of self-improvement, for the endless guilt of not doing enough. It offers the possibility of an end to the ceaseless round of trying so hard that wraps so many people's lives in a knot. Instead, there's now meditation as an act of love. How endlessly delightful and encouraging. Instead, there's now meditation as an act of love. How endlessly delightful and encouraging. Following the sounds of the gong. So that when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes, or lifting your gaze and taking in the world around you. The colors, the light, the faces on the screen, the names on the screen. Sending the love and blessings we've created to each other as we enter this day. And yeah, you're welcome to drop off or to unmute and share your experiences. Next week, there won't be a mindful moment. We're going down to Natal for a cricket tour, as I mentioned, and we're actually going to be traveling back very early on Tuesday morning, leaving Natal at sort of 4 or 5 so that we can be back here for when the markets open. Colin's having to be very much at his desk at the moment because of the craziness of the world, and as we've just discovered, it might be getting more crazy. So we'll be in the car, and I know that the reception is so poor on that route, and so I invite you to listen to an old mindful moment that appeals to you. It's on the website, or do your own moment. And actually, I think this is all part of this time. It's a time of turning inwards and a time of self-reflection and time of self-nurturance, and that's what we are doing, and on the shed we're doing as well. I've actually also woken up, well, yesterday it was starting, and today I've woken up with a very achy and sore lower back. Colin saw me moving. He's like, gosh, you really are sore. Do you need to go and see a physio or chiro? And I've put on some of my oils. I've taken copaiba internally. I've put on copaiba and deep blue and lemongrass. And I'm going to go and do some mindful movement, some of Dee Dee's lovely mindful movement from the shed. And so it's a time for me to also, you know, the pelvis and the pelvic bowl is all about grounding oneself. It's about one's own strength and community. And then the card that I drew for myself this morning is I create massive value in small pockets of time. And it says about fueling your joy. Ginger prods the individual into remembering they truly can choose to be powerful right now in these exact circumstances, and empowers the uncertain individual. They can bravely choose the actions that fuel joy. And Ginger, when we did Henrietta's Melissa Challenge, which was so inspiring for many of us, she talked about how it's so nourishing, especially when one gives out a lot, to have ginger and water. So that's what I've got to nourish internally. So lovely to see you. And Gina, I see you on. It was so lovely to meet you in person last week, those who came to Cape Town. And Gina, I feel like I know so well. We've had years worth of journeying together, and it was so beautiful to meet in person last week. And so
thank you to meet you too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, blessings to you all today.
Thanks so much, Nix.
Thank you, Sal.
Morning, Nikki.
Ellen.
Thank you very much. It was lovely. We'll chat again soon. Just now.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And
See you.
see you just
Yeah,
now.
Rich is on his way up to Zambia, so he couldn't join us this morning. So.
Oh, very nice. Okay, well, wish him a smooth and safe trip.
Well, he's having breakfast in the Bidvest Lounge at the airport at the moment, so he's not complaining right now.
Oh. Nice.
Okay, thanks, Nix. Bye.
Okay. And thanks to all the comments and the messages. Thank you all. Much love to you all.
Nikki, are we seeing each other later?
Yes, at 10:30. And Ruth, I've got a big favor to ask you, because Colin, we saw a wonderful, wonderful doctor yesterday, and she's advised a whole lot of supplements for him. And I think a lot of the LLV covers that, but this is your game and not my game. And so I was going to ask you, because I've got the list of what she was suggesting, and I was going
Great,
to ask,
we'll talk about that.
look at that. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, thank you.
Dom's got something at 10:30 to 11. Could we make it 11:30?
Yes, we could actually. Yes,
Is that all right for you?
Because I've got a meeting at 1, but 11:30 is perfect.
Okay, and otherwise I'll listen to her recording.
Listen to her and then come when she's done. I'll be here.
All right.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank
Ruth.
you.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, it was lovely this morning. Bye.
Thanks so much. Take care. Thanks, everyone. Bye.